Hi Ashley, it's currently 1:30 in the morning and I'm putting off homework to make a video for you. Don't you feel special? It's kind of funny that your video was on the subject that it was on Friday, because I was just having a very similar conversation with somebody recently. I don't mind saying I am 5'8" and 170 pounds, which I consider to be about average, a little bit taller than most women, a little bit heavier than most women, but things even out, so I consider myself to be about average. That being said, even the medical community tries to tell me that I am unhealthy and overweight. At 170 pounds, the body mass index chart says that I am overweight. 10 pounds heavier and I would be considered obese. In what world am I considered obese? The problem with that chart, though, is that it only takes into account height and weight. It doesn't take into account other factors such as muscle mass, which is much, much heavier than fat, bone structure, any number of things can skew those tests, and it doesn't take into account any of that. But that's what our insurance premiums are based on, and that's what the doctors harp on us about the body mass index chart. That is the have-all be-all, and it is not an accurate test at all. It's funny how our perspective changes, though, based on our bodies and other people's. The other day I was getting ready for a show, and you've been in theater, you know how it is. Everybody gets dressed all together, and we run around in our underwear, and we help each other get dressed. There is no modesty whatsoever. Anyway, we were getting dressed, and this woman was commenting on how amazing I look in this costume. It was a really awful brown and black suit. I thought it was atrocious, but she was talking about how amazing I look in it and how I have such a killer figure, and it's disgusting how good I look. She was talking about how she's never had a figure like mine, and it's disgusting, and it's awful. I just kind of laughed it off at the time, but I got to thinking later, as I said before, I think of myself as pretty average, but since she's heavier than I am and shorter than I am, she looks at me as the ideal of beauty, even though I look at myself as being average. I think our average or normal is really defined by our own experiences and our own perspective. There is really no such thing as normal or average. It's all perspective. The society in which we live has an ideal of perfect, and if you do not fit into that very small margin, you are looked down upon. If you are extraordinarily thin, that must mean you are too skinny and unhealthy and therefore undesirable. And if you are slightly heavier than societal expectations, that must mean you are overweight and unhealthy and likewise undesirable. There's a very, very small margin of what society accepts as beauty, and very, very few women, or men for that matter, fit into that very small margin of societal expectation. I think you are right that our society is on the brink of a cultural shift, but it has taken a very long time to get there. Good night, Ashley, and I will see you tomorrow. Oh, and I hope you're surviving the hurricane okay. I'm sending good thoughts to you. Good night.